It's another edition of Stuck in the Middle podcast.
Yep.
It's a scaled down version today, man.
Scaled out version, definitely. I'm AK.
RifleX. Yeah.
It's Stuck in the Middle, ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome to another edition of the pod.
Yeah. We apologize for not having a guest today. Unfortunately, our guest had, some
medical issues.
Yeah, medical issues. So he couldn't make it. And yeah.
Usually we have a backup, but today, like the magnitude of the topic, and we'll introduce it in a second. We just wanted to focus on mental health, really.
Yeah.
Mental health. Feel like it's a big one. First of all, man, how's your weekend been going, man?
Man, my weekend was dope, man. Yeah, really didn't do much other than trying to switch my tags from Michigan to Maryland.
How much it cost you?
Dude, I don't want to go down that route.
Yeah, I feel like you spent so much money on your car this weekend.
Man, I spent way too much money, man. It's insane. Like the DMV makes so much money. I don't even understand, man. And then they got, traffic cameras and all that.
Because you changed your tires.
I changed my tires.
How much you pay for the tires?
Oh, I bought them Jones online from Tire Rack for almost $500.
And then it got to be like $400 to change it.
And then they charged me about, $200 to change it plus alignment.
Crazy.
And then I had to change my power steering belt.
What is that?
Man, there's a little thing in front of the car that, spins like it spins all the motors and all whatnot, get the engine running and all that stuff.
Uh-huh.
And then I had to take off my tints too, which is crazy.
I feel like I saw you anyway. Yeah, I was going to say, I feel like I saw you this morning. When I was going to church and you were going toward yeah. Anyway, yeah, man. I had a birthday this weekend, man.
Yeah, Friday. I was saying, happy birthday, man. Happy birthday.
Appreciate it, man. Birthday was dry.
But I did see you dancing and, your auntie was throwing money on you.
Man, that was the highlight of the birthday.
How much was it?
It was like $30.
Oh.
Yeah, man.
You made $30, man.
Yep. In 15 seconds.
Even some dancers out there don't make.
Like strippers make thousands in a night. I made $30 in 15 seconds. I got a Snapchat story to prove it. I'm not a stripper, by the way. I do not condone stripping.
It depends what strip club you go to. Stripping is an art.
Oh, man. Okay.
I condone stripping for the right reasons. But anyways, we're not going to get to that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Listen, though. I want to 2016, early 2016, I made a Facebook post, and this is what it said. Currently plotting how to raise awareness in Africa for mental illness. Tired of seeing people being ostracized and thought of as witches just for being ill. Just as the heart or liver or stomach or kidney can get sick, the brain can too. And it had it had a bunch of likes and, loves, and people were like, great idea. I want to help. Go for it. This is right. I feel like it's a discussion that should be, it's had, but should be furthered and action should be put behind it, man. Mental illness in Africa.
Definitely, like I also, I concur to that, like back home in Africa, a lot of people don't really know what mental health is. And those who know, they find difficulties in, putting the word out because they face adversaries from people,
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I was watching this TED Talk this morning,
mm-hmm.
and, the speaker, let me see, what's his name?
Yeah, I think I saw that too.
Yeah. The speaker, he said in his words, globally, 75% of all mental health cases are found in low income countries. Yet most of our government dedicate less than 1% of their healthcare budget on mental health. Less than 1%.
Sheesh.
That's insane, man. Like, that's ridiculous. You feel me? And they have shortages of, therapists and psychiatrists back home.
Mm-hmm.
So when you have all these, immigrants coming into the United States,
mm-hmm.
We too, most of our parents always say, yo, go do nursing.
Mm-hmm.
Not once do people think of, becoming therapists and psychiatrists. and these people make bank too.
Like in booking, man, that's crazy. Because you said that because like when we were talking about you brought the topic up in the stuck in the middle group chat about booking, focusing on mental health this week, and you introduced. Can we reveal the guest, by the way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
Mr. Martin, Michael Martin.
Michael Martin.
Yeah.
Hope he feels better.
Hope he feels better. Yeah.
And what is he again? Just for people who are listening right now.
He's a program coordinator at Amazing Love Health Services.
Mm-hmm.
It's a mental health clinic in DC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So his day to day pretty much is just going out, to different programs,
mm-hmm.
making sure that his clinic has actually has all the let's say he goes to some facility, right,
mm-hmm.
that has taken all these people who are suffering from drug abuse and all whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
It is required by court for these people to actually go through treatment.
Required
by court. Most of them is required by court to go through treatment, to see a therapist, to see a psychologist. Psychiatrist.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see a therapist, the therapist does something called biopsychosocial.
Mm-hmm.
That actually they get to tell what this person is suffering from. Then the therapist then do a psychiatric evaluation,
mm-hmm.
to evaluate what stage this person is. Like most people suffer from depression, substance abuse, stress, violence, within the community, death. Man, it's all kinds of things.
War,
it's all kinds of things, and bring that back to where we from.
Africa.
And
it can even be more prevalent there because right
now it's a war zone out there.
Exactly.
You feel me? It's a war zone, like you see.
And you don't have that, counselors, people have personal therapists here.
Yeah.
Like if you lose somebody you love, you don't have nobody to go to and say, and express those feelings. And we're going to get into it as far as like mental health in men, but I don't want to miss something that you mentioned as far as like the government not sponsoring it, as far as like, there's not being a budget. But before I bring that up, just to put the magnitude of how the discussion is out there, like people are actually thinking about it. When you said it in the group chat, right? And we were thinking about it, like guest booking guests and there's people out there I had the idea of bringing on somebody, have like a panel, and just to say like people are thinking about it as far as like even Janik. Shout out to Janik. She's Miss Cameroon 2016. She put out a Facebook post just May 1st. And she said mental health needs to be taken more seriously in African communities. And this thing has had over 80 likes on her Facebook page. I did comment, and a lot of people, saying absolutely, exactly, haha, this is serious. And one person said, LOL.
Just to piggyback on that, right?
Yeah.
Imagine this. Most Africans back home, right?
Mm-hmm.
They address mental illness with a distance.
What do you mean?
As in, let's say you see somebody suffering from mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Like, back home, most of the people who suffer from mental health, they're either on the street, they're tied up somewhere, locked up somewhere, and they treat those people with distance. It's like, remember growing up, you see, crazy person on the street.
Man.
You run away from that person. You feel me? Like, do we, like right now when we think about it,
mm-hmm.
do we really know what was wrong with that person?
Absolutely not.
You know what I mean? Because society has given that distance from them, it makes it worse. You feel me? Imagine being sick of malaria, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the doctors did not give you the necessary, drugs to treat that. What will happen? It will increase exponentially. You feel me? So in my own thinking, I'm thinking that, giving these people distance, isolating them creates a bigger, the level of their mental illness, grows exponentially
mm-hmm.
to the point where they can't relate to regular human beings.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Like you and I, who actually go to school, reason things rationally and all why not. Also, ignorance, fear, anger, and guilt. Those are all things that we Africans, we need to look into when it comes to mental health.
Mental health, yeah, exactly. And especially in like men. Like the dude, man, we got to look up his name so we,
yeah, definitely.
What he was saying in the TED Talk this morning, I listened to it because I saw you shared it on the Stuck in the Middle Facebook page. And by the way, one of the things I'm looking to do this summer is to actually, because I feel passionate about this. Like I'm having conversations with people about this, and I have the idea of having actual, a panel discussion. And so if you're listening to this podcast and you want to partner in doing this summer, we can rent a space. People come where we have a dialogue and discussion about this and put action behind it. But one of the things he said was, in African men, this is the problem. You handle it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like, if you're struggling, like, you're not gonna come and say, man, like, even to your brother.
It's that pride, man.
Is that pride and fear? Is that stigma and that, to that fear of being looked down on?
Yeah.
And it can turn to stress, and then stress to lead. It just goes down the road, and next thing you know, you going crazy.
Oh, his name is Sangu Deli.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Nigeria. Shout out to Sangu Deli out there, man.
Yes.
That was a great TED Talk. If you really, if you want to, know more about it, it's on our Facebook page, Stuck in the Middle. Yeah.
Yeah, we posted a link. And Sangu Deli, by the way, he's an entrepreneur. And he's involved with clean water. He's a clean water activist and a TED fellow who hails from. He's from Ghana, actually.
Oh, he's from Ghana.
Yeah.
Okay.
From Ghana, and he sees incredible potential in the African economy. You can see his full bio on TED.com, TED Lagos. But yeah, man.
Like really, really, like to you, right? When you hear mental illness, like what do you think about?
When I hear, growing up in Cameroon, man, when I hear mental illness, I think about those people that we just mentioned. Like, there's even a couple that's coming to my mind right now. It's like you see them coming down the street, you cross the street, and you run. They look dirty, and it's like you don't think about somebody who might be struggling from PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, or somebody who might just be really stressed out, or somebody who might, have just lost a loved one, or that. Yeah, I think of like somebody who's like, stay away from them, ostracize them. That's essentially what we did.
Yeah,
that's essentially what people do now.
We didn't create a safe environment for them. We totally isolated them. Alienated them. And thinking about it right now, considering the fact that I get to deal with most of these people on a daily basis. I'm like, man, there is so much we have to do. To catch up with the rest of the world. So much. And it all begins with our minds.
1 in 5 Americans over the age 18 will experience a diagnosable mental health disorder in a given year. And nearly half, that's 64.4%, will experience a mental health disorder in their lifetime. That's coming from Joe Carter, by the way. He is I'm gonna get his bio straight here in a second. But yeah, what do you think about that?
Like right now being somebody from the DMV, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also dealing with individuals in DC, I could see that. I could actually see that live in my head. I could see the possibility of that, because coming from a low income country, right, and dealing with the people in DC who also are all low income.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot that to go through. Imagine not going to school, right? You wake up in the morning, you don't have breakfast, you don't have food. Now, before that, you are living in a shelter, and there are no security guards at the shelters. So whoever is the strongest run that shelter.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So there's like all these different factors that play into it. And mentally, it could be very depressing.
Mm-hmm. And
by the time you hit that depression mode, there is no telling which route you're about to take.
Mm.
You know what I mean? The only way out at this point in time is to get help, because you cannot relate to the regular things that regular people, relate to. Yeah, we have stresses, but it's not as much as, somebody who does not have a roof over their head, somebody who is fighting to eat.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? So definitely I can see a possibility of that.
Man, approximately 70% of Americans, and we, like we just, and another thing when I stuck in the middle is like balancing two words, right?
Right.
And I'm just, looking at the statistics here in America where we live,
right,
where most of the people who we're gonna talk about live, and back home, not just Cameroon, but Nigeria, Ghana. Because this, I was just watching a video as we were preparing for this podcast, studying and doing research. I mean, man, like, it's serious, man. We're going to share the links, by the way. People go watch and read up on it. But approximately 70% of Americans experience physical and non-physical symptoms of stress, but only 37% think they are doing very well at managing stress. I know for a fact that me, saying completing my master's degree, man, like this semester has been stressful.
Very, very, man. And I got 2 more classes to go, and I kid you not, like my previous class, right? You could even ask Derek, for example. He was at work when I was like jubilating, like literally I yelled, "Yes, dude!" I had this class. It was so stressful upon me. I didn't even think I was going to pass that class. You feel me? So for me to check, like, since Monday, I've been holding off to check my grade till Friday. And it kept looping in my head. And at some point, I'm like, man, stop being a little punk. Just check the damn thing already. Just for me to look, I passed the class. And more of the story is like the stress school brings is a whole different ballgame.
Yeah, I think even of like kids graduating high school, not knowing what they want to do, how they're gonna support themselves financially. Yeah, man.
Could be stressful.
Yeah.
Could be stressful.
Can add to that, definitely. Can definitely add to that, man. How, what I mean? Like, I wanna, talk a little bit about one thing that he mentioned in the TED talk was that, in the African communities, and somebody when they see these symptoms, like they immediately bring them to church, and they start
start playing on them, stomping on them.
What's me being somebody who is a Christian, man? Like I definitely, especially in the African community, man, there's a lot of truth in that, and it's sad. Even the church doesn't know how to respond to mental illness,
right? Like.
Definitely, you want to pray for somebody who's sick, because mental illness, like I said earlier, it's just another condition like liver failure.
Most definitely.
Definitely want to pray for anybody who's sick, but
and you definitely too want to actually, take this person to hospital so the doctors could actually tell what's going on with them.
Diagnose them.
Yeah, diagnose them, because from those diagnoses they could tell what medications to give them. You feel me? And also there is also a need for medications back home. Say for people who are going through stress, anxiety, and all that stuff, there are medications to calm them down. I've sat next to somebody who is just anxious, man. And to me, I was like, why are you fidgeting? Like, can you not stop moving? Just to realize that, he's suffering an anxiety attack right there. And his mom had to come through with his meds, like, just pop 2 pills, and he just automatically flat, just calm.
Sheesh.
All the stuff he was moving around, he did not even touch him anymore. I'm even passing to something. It's like, no, I don't need that right now. So it's like definitely things that we need to bring back home. Like, we need more kids, more children, to learn to practice, therapy,
neuroscience,
all that stuff, man. So we could actually educate our community, make Africa a place where people could go, live, and just enjoy, the peace, atmosphere, tranquility, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And just love everybody equally. That's what I think. That's really what I think. It's a touching subject, man. It really is a touching subject. I don't even think that, you and I, we're not even professionals on it. Talking about it is so emotional. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, it's very emotional, man. So I don't know. I don't know how therapists and psychiatrists do it. You sit down, you talk to, let's say 5, 6, 7 people per day. Like you're talking to different individuals. This person is suffering from anxiety. That person is stressed. That person is suffering from a trauma from, say, let's say, a loved one, being killed. Different things. And one person, he or she could suck in all that information and then go home to their families and still deal with their families. Like, they never heard any of that stuff.
Man, it's a,
You know, it's a lot, man.
somebody dear to me, you know, that's their field, right? And I just be so scared for them, man. Like, because I feel like it's collateral damage, man. I don't like, you know what I'm saying? Like, we definitely need people in those fields, like you just mentioned. But, and that's another thing too, right? I can't be selfish like that. I can't be selfish and say, oh, you know what I mean? Like, don't get into that field because it's gonna be detrimental for me,
Right.
But it's just a matter of supporting them, and if they come back and they want to talk about how was your day, type stuff like that, I feel like wives also, because they can. I go crazy, man, dealing with that, bro. Like, sheesh.
Yeah. I mean, just to sidetrack, sidetrack a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is your take on counseling? As in, let's say marital counseling or just anger counseling and all that stuff. What's your take on that?
Yeah, man, I definitely feel like counselors should get a lot of credit. You know, but as far like, it's funny you mentioned counseling. I was watching. Well, I wasn't watching. I was in passing. I saw a show. I think it was on Oprah's network, and I can't even, you know, shout out to Oprah. She's making billions. I can't even, you know, hate or whatever. But you know, I don't know the name of the show, but she was counseling a couple. I feel like those things are great. There's Christian counselors, there's, you know, secular counselors, and counselors should get a lot of credit. But there's great ones out there, but there's also bad ones. It's just a matter of, you know what I'm saying, like finding, like if you need help, if you need a counselor, seek it.
Yeah, seek it, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, everything in life, I feel like there's there are the good ones and then there are the bad ones.
And just to even, you know what I'm saying, like, I feel like we just talked about earlier about, you know, that ego.
Mm-hmm.
And fear of, you know, saying opening up to family or peers, and that messing with you down the road, mental health, as far as Africans are concerned. If you had a counselor, who's to say if you speak to that, you're not gonna get help early on than to bottle it up and then it turns to mental health.
Exactly.
So,
you know what I mean, growing up, for example, like, you know, we all grew up in the same environment, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you know, you could be you could testify to this, you know, we really didn't have much room to express ourselves in terms of, oh, Ato, go do this. You couldn't protest. You had to go do it, whether you liked it or not. You feel me? And growing up, it's like, you know, all these little things that you had to bottle inside because you couldn't really express yourself.
Right.
You feel me? And most people, they took it, they did what they had to do, and let go of it. Some people don't. You know what I mean? They just keep bottling inside, keep on, and then one day they just explode. You feel me?
Yeah.
And that's the way it is with most of, you know, our African brothers and all whatnot. So one thing they really need to, you know, start doing is they have to be able to talk to a brother, talk to a loved one about their struggles.
Create that environment of dialogue.
Yeah. Definitely. That would lead, you know, that would create a friendly environment for not just, you know, your household, but for the community as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Secondly, you know, some people actually have to take it upon themselves to educate others on really what mental health is. You know what I mean? Like, not everybody that, you know, walks the street is really crazy in, you know, the African terms. Is really crazy. You know, it's just that distance. It's just that abuse that, you know, the society has, you know, put them through that make them look what they, you know, they look like right now, and, you know, the path in which they are too.
Yeah. As a result of, you know, them being ostracized
Yeah.
not in the community or their family, just not knowing how to respond to it. I was just going to ask you, how should people respond to mental illness? But you just touched on it, you know, creating that. I think that's definitely one aspect, creating that environment where, you know, people can express themselves.
Yeah. Also, the government. I mean, it all begins with the government. You know, the government needs to, you know, really include that in their, you know, healthcare budget.
Yeah. Approximately 3.5 million people in the United States are diagnosed with schizophrenia. English don't pass me. Schizophrenia. Yeah, that word, man. That word. I promise you, I'm a master's degree student. One of the leading causes of, you know, disability. 3/4 of persons with schizophrenia develop the illness between the age of 16 and 25.
16 and 25?
Yeah. Studies have indicated that 25% of those having schizophrenia recover completely. That's a good thing. 50% are improved over a 10-year period. and 25% do not improve over time. Treatment and other economic costs due to schizophrenia are estimated between 3.5 and 65 billion annually.
Annually. And that's in the US.
That's in the US.
Yeah.
So if you, what's that statistics in Africa? It was like what, less than 1%
Less than
of
1%.
the budget is dedicated to that. Then, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like there's no way, man. There is no way. There's no chance in hell those people are getting treated. You feel me? Like, hold on. I really have a question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this question bothers my mind, day in, day out. So our government officials, from the president all the way down to governors and all whatnot, you feel me?
Mm-hmm.
They go out of country, right?
Mm-hmm.
To attend all these seminars, these meetings and all whatnot. So while out of country, I'm certain for sure that they do see what happens over here overseas. You know what I mean? They see it. They read it. But what baffles me is how don't they try to govern, their own government the way it's being done here? Address situations that, they see here that are similar back home.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how don't they try to address those situations?
Man, it's you know what's up back home, man. You know what's up back home. We're gonna in our the other segment of the podcast, which I got a new name for it now, man. It's no longer called news. It's called the stories. We're gonna talk a little bit about
the stories. Okay,
the stories, yeah. But continuing on this mental health issues, man. If you're listening to this pod and you are passionate about mental health, I personally, RifleX, is passionate about it equally, and we don't want this conversation to stop here. Yeah. Stuck in the middle, we evolve every week, different guest, different topic. But I'm interested in it doesn't even have to be this summer, but this year started a panel.
A panel, yeah.
Where, people with, like the two girls who we wanted to book for this episode. One of them, she's a graduate from some top university here in the States, but shout out to her, man. She was having her housewarming this weekend, couldn't make it. And the other one, she travels a lot. Wanderlust, I see you. I'm jealous. So, if we can get them together, man, and, your boss and a couple other people, man, have this discussion and, just blow it up and get some help, man.
Most def. You know what I mean? It's really needed in our community. You know what I mean? It's really needed in our community. We also need people, word of mouth travel very fast. Mm-hmm. You feel me? So if I tell you, you tell the next person tell two more people, you feel me? That's like creating massive awareness. Mm-hmm. So it's like we encourage people to actually, pass on the news, like mental health is real. It's out here. And what better way of, reducing the stigma to it than word of mouth?
Yeah.
You feel me?
If you want to, like AK just said, man, I want robinhammond.co.uk. That's ROBINHAMMOND.co.uk/condemned mental health in African countries in crisis. That's the title of the photo essay. Take a look at this thing. We're gonna post it on the Stuck in the Middle Facebook page and Twitter. It's the picture. The pictures are crazy, man. You seen this photo essay?
I seen it, man. I seen it. Even that TED Talk, man. He
referenced.
Yeah, he referenced a couple pictures. Those are hard to take in, man.
Abandoned by government, forgotten by the aid community, neglected and abused by entire societies. Africans with mental health in regions in crisis are resigned to the dark corners of churches, chained to rusted hospital beds, locked away to live behind bars in filthy prisons. It's crazy, man.
It is. Imagine, for example, right? And in this segment right here, I'm going, speak on a lot of, real situations that I went through. Imagine back home. Remember back home when, our grandma, may also rest in peace, used to live with us. Mm-hmm. Dude, for 6 years, she had Alzheimer's, right? Mm-hmm. Living with us. Not once did we tie up. Not once did we, send her to some institute or to the hospital or to jail so to go lock up or anything. Mm-hmm. We dealt with her like she was any other regular human being.
Yeah.
Like she had all her five, seven senses in. You feel me? So it was day in, day out dealing with her. Mm-hmm. There was no set manual. You know what I mean? Like today, she would, for some reason, remember that she had family here, and that's where she would be. And we walk around the community looking for her. We're not going to find her till we get a call like, oh, she's here. And we walk and we'll get her. Not once did we even think of tying her up. You feel me? Like,
and I think also, you know, like you just said, like people say, oh, we just saw her there. Is that creating that environment of people know, like, oh, this person is loved.
Yeah, exactly.
This person is accepted.
Exactly.
Because those people that we saw in the street and ran away from because they were dirty, and they once with their families, and not to, you know what I'm saying, condemn or slander any person, is that person with their family was like, man, we don't want to deal with this. If they ran, bye.
Yeah, bye. Yeah. Forget it. We're not chasing them.
So God was, you know what I'm saying, definitely gracious in us to give us that, you know, that love for her. And, you know, like you said, may her soul rest in peace, man.
Definitely. You know, on Twitter, you know, shout out to, man, I can't even read for nothing. But anyways, there's a quote, right? This girl on Twitter said, I think it's Grimm, she said, because in Africa, mental health is downplayed or even absolutely ignored. In quote, she said, you cannot be African and depressed or suicidal, so they say.
Man.
You feel me? And that was that was her you know, reply from this other tweet that said, I remember when my mom found out I was suicidal. The first thing she said was, I've spoiled you by giving birth to you in America.
Sheesh.
You feel me? Like, think about that. It does not matter where you give birth to your child. It does not matter. Day in, day out, they go out, say, to school, they go to work, you know, they go to parties and all whatnot. They deal with people every single day. You are not there 24/7 looking after them, right? So something might happen in between. You do not know. As a result, your child, your child could be suicidal, or, God forbid, something worse. I mean, I don't know what could be worse than that. Instead of you taking the time out to actually see what caused this and prevent this suicidal episode, you know what I mean? As most African parents, you know, from the movies we watch and probably in real life, you know what I mean? They go ahead and say that. How is that going to help this person from not committing that act? You feel me? So it's like stuff like this that, you know, kill me. Like, parents need to understand that, you know, the era in which they grew in is very different from the era in which we're growing in right now. You feel me? Which we are right now. You know what I mean? There are things that occurred back then that was perfectly normal that occurs now, and we're looking like, what is that? And the things that occur right now that our parents are looking like, what the hell is that? Like, what is that kid doing? You know what I mean? At some point, African parents need to be able to, you know, relate to the kids as friends to better understand them, but not taking away, you know, their parenting role. You feel me? Like, those are little things that, you know, might make parents actually do, you know, understand what the kid is all about, the struggles they're going through, the depressions. Because if you do not create a passage, if you do not create a friendly environment with your son or daughter, how do you expect them to actually have a conversation with you about their troubles and all whatnot? It's impossible. Yeah. It's impossible. So once you start creating that friendly environment, you're giving them room to actually talk of the fears, the struggles, their challenges and all whatnot. Yeah.
Shout out to the African parents, you know what I'm saying, who create that environment, man.
Most definitely.
It's not like, you know what I'm saying, we don't want people to see it and think like that's the way, you know, it is in every African communities. But I've definitely seen that.
Yeah. And I mean, it's not like that in every African community, you know, like, don't twist it around, you know. Yeah. But majority, you know, of African parents don't view the kids as friends. You know, it's
like
all
people
about,
you could see, like, you know, watch a game.
Exactly, you know.
You know what I mean? Like, and talk about life issues and pour into.
You know, push them to be better. You know, like, oh man, what do you want to do in life? Oh, I want to become, let's say, I want to become a pilot, for example.
Yeah, you challenge them and like, you know, give them advice and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's if you're just joining us, man, we're talking about mental health in Africa. And we're bouncing it off with, you know, mental health here in the United States of America. Stuck in the Middle podcast. I just definitely made this sound like it's a radio show.
You know, there's a question that, you know, most people ask. And most people ask, it's mental health illness and mental health retardation related.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I mean, normally nobody uses the word retardation anymore.
It's politically incorrect.
Yep. So for the purpose of this podcast, though,
we're going to use it.
We're going to use it.
Because it's a frequently asked question.
Yeah.
It's out there.
It's out there. So the answer to that is no, they're not the same. Mental illness has nothing to do with a person's intelligence. Most developmental disabled people have no psychiatric problems. Many persons diagnosed with mental illness are very intellectual. So being mentally ill does not mean that there's something wrong with your brain. It might be depression. It might be stress. It might be anxiety. The list goes on and on and on and on. So if you by chance, come across somebody who says, "Oh man, I'm mentally ill," your first reaction shouldn't be fear. The second shouldn't be, "Oh, let me distance myself from this person." For me, at this point, I'm curious. I'm going closer to this person like, "Yo, tell me more. Educate me on, your issue." Because once I do know what you're going through, I'm actually saving myself from saying something that you might find, wrong, or that might get you irritated. That might make you snap. And then do something that, I was not even, anticipating and all that stuff.
What's another question on that?
Another question is, what does it mean to have mental illness? And man, the answer is so long, but I'm just going to read what I see right here. Mental illnesses are medical conditions that disrupt a person's thinking, feeling, mood, ability to relate to others, and daily functioning. Just as diabetes, is a disorder of the pancreas, mental illness are medical conditions that often result in a diminished capacity for coping with the ordinary demands of life. Check out that.
Yeah.
So it's like anything pretty much that makes you not fulfill, your 100% task, I guess. You know what I mean?
That's just like like a liver.
Yeah.
Fairly, disease or, malaria. It's just your brain is sick, man. It's just your brain is sick.
Definitely. So it's not anything alarming. It's not anything that will make you want to run away from somebody.
Yeah.
It's not anything that will make you want to distance yourself from somebody or not talk to them or not interact with them. It should be a cause for you to actually extend a helping hand if you can. If I know that, like a friend of mine is suffering from this, if I know that friend of mine is always anxious and all whatnot, but he does not know the route to go. The position in which I am right now, I could say, "Yo, man, I know this therapist, I know this psychiatrist I could go talk to." You feel me? Like, do me a favor, actually talk to them.
Yeah.
So let's know what's going on. Let's see what's going on with you. You don't have to wait till 10 years down the road when, your situation really got worse. And now you have to go through all these crazy procedures. I'm just saying, not that that's what goes on. I'm just saying,
Yeah, man. While you were saying that, just a little bit of a lighter note, though. Man, I remember coming up, man, in shout out to GBH's Baminda Kwe. Man, like you talk about like running away from people, mental illness, just a little bit of a light note, man. Like, bruh, you remember that malaria? We called it malaria. Somebody had malaria.
Yeah.
It was mostly girls.
Mostly girls, yeah.
I think
always girls actually.
But I think maybe that was like epilepsy.
Yeah, epileptic. Yeah, epileptic. Epileptic people. Yeah, cerebral. They called it back home cerebral malaria.
Yeah.
That thing was crazy, man.
Man, when the girl just break out in that joint, we sitting in class, bro.
Everybody out. You see people going through the windows. Some of them going through, some of them running out the door.
Man,
some people just jumping, holding onto the ceiling, the ceiling and stuff. It's crazy, man.
Oh man, it's crazy because I'm actually friends with one of the girls that her gym was like, it was like 3 times a week in school, man. But I'm not gonna put her out there. I think she's been cured and she's doing great things now, man. Like she's traveling. She has like an NGO. I don't know exactly what it is, but she's traveling, doing all this help and great things, man. But back then, when it was coming up, I was like, shoot, I don't want to be around. But it's crazy, man. Like,
it's funny, man. We could laugh about it right now, but back then, it was not funny, fam. Like that thing was not funny, man. Like, the crazy part was,
and that's another thing too, like, it's a little, especially in like African community, it's a little bit of like witchcraft attached to it. It's like, oh, this person got some juju. Mm-hmm. Let me still wait before I catch something. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying, it's just a matter of like, that not all of that is,
factual.
It's juju.
Yeah.
So
it's just
the person needs help.
Yeah, the person needs help,
sick
man.
In the brain.
Sick in the brain. They just need help. It's a condition. It's a condition that they're going through, and they just need support. Family support, medical support, and all whatnot. They just need that.
Yeah, man. Listen, we just wanted to, initiate the conversation. It's gonna continue. Like I said, hit me up. Stuck in the middle, 237@gmail.com. If you're passionate about mental health, and we can get this thing on the road, man.
Definitely. We need more people to, to come on. We could talk about this topic day in, day out. Matter of fact, I'm going on right now to say this. Every week, we have an episode every week, right? Mm-hmm. After every episode, personally, I don't mind sitting back, right? Mm-hmm. And actually having a panel, of 2 to 3 people just to talk on mental illness. Mm. You feel me? Like after every show. And we're going to do it Facebook Live. Mm-hmm. We're going to put it up on, iTunes, SoundCloud for whoever's interested to, listen to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're up for it, grab that chance. Come into our studio. We're going to sit down. We're going to talk. We have refreshments. We have drinks. All that stuff.
Refreshments and drinks. No, never mind. It's not the same thing. But my mind be everywhere. Don't mind me. My mind literally be everywhere.
Definitely, man.
Yeah, man. And it's not just, we want to take the conversation to actions too. So if people who, NGOs who do, we want to be able to point people to those avenues. Like, here is somebody who is making it happen. That's what Stuck in the Middle is about. The movers and the shakers. Our platform is for you to come on. And tell the world, what I'm saying, and we go in depth. But yeah, man, in the interest
and we're gonna show our support too.
Oh, definitely.
We're just not talking because we want to talk. Like,
definitely.
Almost everybody that been on the platform, we show our support. Be whether we're donating or we going out to events. Yeah, we there.
We there. They can vouch for that too. So we don't just come. You don't just come here and talk. We actually, if you got an event, we out there.
We out there. Definitely.
You got a business, we
be supporting.
We backing it up.
Yeah.
So
feel me. Man, hit them with them stories, man.
Yeah, man, the stories. Emmanuel Macron wins French elections over Marine Le Pen. Man, listen, that just happened today, May 7th, 2017, man.
Word.
French elections. What I'm saying? The magnitude of that is, think about like Cameroon. BS always over there.
Yeah, definitely, man.
So I'm just interested to see how this is going to play out. Because listen, though. He was 5 years old when BF first became president. This dude that just won the presidency in France today was 5 freaking years old when BF became president. And he's a centrist. I don't know the French politics or whatever. And the lady, she was an extreme right. And, this victory I just saw on BBC Africa, African people, not just Cameroon, but Gabon. Think of all those, French colonists. Yeah. People were rejoicing like when Barack Obama won the presidency in 2008, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy stuff. So I'm interested to see how it's going to play out.
And people also rejoicing today in France when they found out he won the elections, correct?
Crazy
I seen you share that post.
Crazy stuff. Yeah, man. It's so, if you're Cameroonian, I can only speak for Cameroon. It's gonna be interesting to see how Bia is gonna respond.
Yeah, how it all pans out with like the polygraph situation going on back home too.
Crazy, man. UCLA has opened a new exhibit called African Print Fashion Show: A Story of Taste, Globalization, and Style, which seeks to uncover the history of what has come to be known as African fashion. The show will run until July 30th. And then travel to 3 other U.S. museums. So, people like Nana Koko Nanga, people like, Stella Kinawa, and people like other people that we're going to have on the platform who, involved with Ankara. That's something, that I think they're going to be interested in. Shout out to UCLA for doing this too, man. And me, I like, my Ankara. That's something that I'm trying to incorporate in my fashion. Like I said in one of my songs, suit and tie, but sometimes it's Ankara Prindo.
Definitely, man. And you were laughing at me when you see me rocking out Jordan. Where you like, man, you go to work like that? Man, I'll go to work like that.
I was at my friend's birthday dinner last night. I had me some Ankara, and I could see this one girl was like, "Yo, what you got on, man?" I was feeling myself anyway.
Man, I seen that picture, man. Like
that joint was fly, ain't it?
I remember I heard you. But it was a little bit dark. I was knocked out at the time. I heard you, but then I seen light. I'm like, dude, when did this guy even take this picture?
It was raining too, but shout out to Nana. She finessed that joint. Cameroon Hip Hop got another indie label as Pascal breaks away from New Bell Music to join Benzil on their newfound label, Strange Kings. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting. Man, Pascal is one of the best lyricists, I would say in Cameroon right now. Mike Monster, Pascal. Man, they're killing it. So Pascal and Benzil, they just partnered up, starting their own label. It's called Strange Kings. So all those aspiring labels, rappers in Cameroon, man, flex your skills, and you might land a deal with Strange Kings.
That's dope, man. I wonder what happened to the deal he had with New Bell.
Hey, that's only to find out in the future. But he was a peaceful partner, though. Jovi did tweet a lot about how he wishes the best of Pascal, and how he's greatly enjoyed Pascal's time on New Bell. So yeah,
I don't even know about this. I mean, I don't know if you read something about this. I'm not too sure about this. But Jovi said he's taking a step back from music.
Oh no, he in fact is going on a war tour.
He is going on a war tour.
He's not taking no.
Jovi is going on a war tour.
Yeah, he's the opposite. He
That's
said, "Man,
interesting."
He said, "Man, we do shows now." He's like, "Man, like
this."
He's just putting the metal to the pedal, or whatever the pedal metal.
Well, if that's the case, man, big ups to Jovi, man. You know what I mean? Like it's been a long time coming, man. Do your thing, dog.
Yes, sir. He's killing it. Anyway, say what you want about Buhari, man. The man is sick. Pray for Buhari. I definitely pray for him. I'd encourage you to join, but he's making moves, man. In addition to fighting corruption in Nigeria, 82 of the Chibok girls who were captured by Boko Haram were released this weekend.
Amen.
So shout out to the Bring Back Our Girls campaign and everybody who has been praying and fighting and holding rallies and all that kind of stuff. 82 of those girls were released today, and they were exchanged. You might have your political views as far as like negotiation and exchanges of prisoners is concerned, but these are young girls, man, who will use us, suicide bombers, and their families have been crying for 3 years, but 82 of them are back home now. As we speak, they're probably meeting Buhari, and then they're going to be sent back to their homes and join back with their families. And even just mental health, as we've been talking on this podcast, they're going to need those help.
Yeah, they're going to need that help, man, definitely, because only God knows what those young kids have been through.
Exposed to.
Yeah, exposed to, you feel me? So, much prayers, to them, man.
Yeah.
We hope everything is right for them.
Man, you can tell them how they can contact us, man.
Man, y'all can contact us on every social platform at SITM Podcast. That's SITM Podcast. Snapchat, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes. And don't forget to email us at stuckinthemiddle237@gmail.com. That's stuckinthemiddle237@gmail.com. Send us your questions, comments, concerns, all of that stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Next week, man, we have Yaga in the building. And my man Patrick.
Yeah.
That's the plan. This is Stuck in the Middle.
We out.
We out.